Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to Spooky Night at the Nest. I hope everyone is having a great day so far. We're going to do some spooky stuff again on Thursday. I can't wait. I hope you enjoy it. The boys are a little bit mouthy tonight, so hopefully they'll be simmering down shortly. There's definitely something going on outside of my house with the federal bird investigations. That woodpecker has been back around. A bird came into my house a couple days ago, and a different bird flew into my house again today. I've been here for 12 years. I have never had a bird fly into my house. What is going on? They didn't even have a warrant. I asked them, do you have a warrant for... You can't enter here. And they just ignored me. They were flying around, banging themselves against the window. I'm like, well... Oh, no, they were little sparrows. No, just little sparrows. And then maybe I'm just talking about the nest too much. And they're like, oh, a nest? All right. Sounds good. Yeah. Lucy Jane Cruz, thank you for being an Owlette for 21 months. Shameless plug. It's your birthday. Oh, my goodness. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Woohoo! Happy birthday, Lucy Jane. I hope it's an awesome one. Thanks for letting us know about that. Always love to celebrate a birthday with some parrots. I hope it's a wonderful one. Wow. And what else we got going on? Pause on Crisco Windows. 92? Who's 92? Not Lucy Jane. Okay. All right, everybody. So let's get into it. Okay. Now, I do have the links that we're going to be watching. Your dad is 92. Wow. God bless him. That's awesome. I do have the links to your 56. Okay. Thank you, Lucy Jane, for clarifying. So the links to the videos we're going to watch today are in the description, and also in the description is a little protection prayer for us. Now, it's okay if you don't believe in what I believe. That is never a requirement to be here in the nest. I hope you know that already. So if you have your own protection prayer or way of protecting yourself in general, you might want to say a few words now, okay? Because we are going to be talking about possession, demon possession, okay? So I will say, as a Muslim, my Lord, I seek refuge with you from the whisperings of the Shayatin. And I seek refuge with you, my Lord, lest they may attend or come near me. I seek refuge from the accursed Satan. Okay? So say what you would like to say for yourself, or just put some white light around yourself. Envision some white light around the nest. Whatever works for you. Okay? All right. So first up, we have, we're going Catholic tonight. We're going Orthodox Catholic tonight. So you may know that before I reverted to Islam, I grew up in the Roman Catholic prayer, and the Roman Catholic Church. My dog is really distracting. I converted to be Protestant in my early 20s, and then reverted to Islam in my late 30s. So, all right. So first, we are going actually Orthodox Catholic, and I don't even know what the difference really is between Roman Catholic and Orthodox, but I've watched this guy before. I think he's very down to earth and interesting to listen to. So this is going to be Father Moses. Enough. Father Moses, okay? So he's going to talk to us about how to tell if you're demon possessed. There are signs, okay? There are signs. Let's go.
So these 4 categories highlight what we would say are the basics of demonology, the 4 categories that you will find people falling into. So when we begin, we have a category that you may be asking yourself, how is everyone in it? Well, this category is thoughts. What do we mean by this? Thoughts are, as the Holy Fathers write in Greek, logos me. Not pronounced logos moi, even though that's how it looks. Logos me. This is the intrusive thoughts that happen to everyone on a daily basis. Sometimes, if we're very scatterbrained or uncontrolled, it can happen from the moment that we awake to the moment that we go to bed. Our mind is constantly going. Now, some of our thoughts are our own, but some of the thoughts are not. It's very much like those old-time cartoons with the angel and the demon on the shoulders. The demons have been at this since the beginning of time. They know our temperament, our personality, our proclivities, and of course, they know our inclinations. They know the things that we veer towards. So, someone who is very proud, they're going to continually give them thoughts that feed their ego, that make them feel puffed up, that tells them that they're better than other people. They'll look down on others. But somebody who's inclined to despair, the demons are very much going to feed them thoughts about how they're worthless and they're less than everybody. The devil wants to cause us to fall off one or the other side of the road. He's always pushing for extremes.
Extremes. Yeah, extremism, just like extremism. So in Islam, we say Siratul Mustaqim, stay in the center. Stay on the straight path in the center. Don't veer off too far to the left or too far to the right. Stay moderate in the center. You can't go wrong. So he's talking about intrusive thoughts. We've all had them. And I mean, you can probably think of a time when you had something come in your mind. Like, I mean, if you're standing, let's say you're standing at the edge of a cliff, don't you kind of hear in your head, like, jump, jump, jump? And you were like, you would never do that. That may not actually be your brain. It may not be you saying that to yourself.
Whispering and inclining our minds to this. And since most of us, myself included, are raised in a culture where we're very undiscerning about our thoughts, we don't pay attention to them. We often give them credence because we think that they come from ourselves, when in fact not all thoughts are our own. In fact, one of the key points that the fathers draw in their distinction is there are times when you're using your mind, like you have a math equation that you need to solve, or you have a balance sheet that you need to resolve. That's when you're using your mind. But then sometimes your mind is using you. And that's what we've talked about in past videos, when you're in the thought-nado, when you're spinning around, chasing intrusive thought after intrusive thought after intrusive thought, having conversations in your mind with people who don't exist for all intents and purposes because they're not there, when you're having arguments, when you're having bitterness or resentment or anger, whenever you're feeding what they call the passions or the sins, you are feeding into what the devil is trying to feed us. It's very much like being in the matrix of our own mind, where we have yet to differentiate truth from falsehood, truth from illusion. This is very key that we understand. Everyone suffers from this to some degree or another if they have not learned to battle and be discerning with the thoughts that they accept. But the Holy Fathers also tell us that just because we have a thought, it's not a sin. It's just a thought. If a lustful thought comes to our mind while we're driving and we banish that thought with the sign of the cross, maybe the Jesus prayer, Lord Jesus Christ, have mercy on me, and we turn our mind away from it, it is not a sin. It's just a thought. It's just a suggestion.
Yeah, so don't beat yourself up if you're really trying to stay, super like conscious. If you, if this is your belief, okay, all right. And you're like, oh my God, I'm having thoughts about, whatever. Sometimes that's just like hormonal, like your body telling you it's time to procreate. But, you're not acting on it. You let the thought come in and go out. No big deal to this, to Father Moses, yeah.
But they tell us if we begin to entertain that thought, or we begin to think about how we could make that thought happen, or how we could bring a resolution to that inclination, now we're getting into demonic energy.
Okay.
Demonic energy is what kind of starts to surround us when we feed into these negative thoughts, when we begin to entice them, the anger, the bitterness, the resentment. It can also be when somebody says, oh, I'm trusting my gut or my feelings, or I have a sensation. Sometimes people even use the language of saying, I really feel that God, XYZ. They think that they have some kind of inner emotional or some stirring that somehow reveals the secret mind of Almighty God to them. That is demonic energy. St. Paul is very clear to test the spirits. So many people I have encountered have had intense disappointments in their life, but they'll say, I really felt God wanted me to do that. This is extremely dangerous, this mind and this way of thinking, because we don't know what God's secret will is because it's His secret will. Or, for instance, we may have somebody who has kind of almost a foresense of things that are going to happen. And they think, oh, this is a gift. I know things, but it's not reality. It's actually demonic energy as they've entertained those thoughts or those feelings or those sensations over the years.
So, I mean, we're not going to agree with, and I don't agree with him here myself, but we're not going to agree with, this is a very specific religious point of view, okay, about demonology. So, I think intuition, like serious intuition and like clairvoyance is a very real thing. And I don't, I've had a ton of personal experience with that. And I always pray that if it's not from God, I don't want it. Get it out of here. And it still comes through sometimes. So thank you so much, Hot Latte. Yes, I have a few outfits for this evening. Yes, thank you. Yeah.
One last one that is often a pitfall for people that they don't realize, the Holy Father spoke about this in the early church, which was trusting in dreams and analyzing dreams. The Holy Fathers are very clear. When we go to sleep, our body is asleep, but our nous or our mind has some consciousness or awakeness. And the demons will try to implant thoughts or dreams or ideas into us when we're asleep. If we entertain or try to discern those dreams or try to figure out what's going on, we begin to shape our life off of something that is not from God. Now, it may be from our subconscious, but the reality is it may even be from the demons. So if we're really understanding the church and the Holy Fathers and how they've taught us, we don't even listen to or entertain dreams because even they can be full of demonic energy. What is the hallmark of demonic energy, though, is that we begin to drift into self-reliance. The person who says, oh, I really feel that God, ... is trusting in a sensation that they've created or imagined or think. They're not actually living by faith. Living by faith is saying, I am going to make this decision because it falls within the moral parameters that God has revealed, and I'll trust that God will help me through any adversity that comes my way. That is actually living by faith, rather than somehow kind of putting everything on God or a feeling or whatever else.
Okay, I hear what he's saying. So I think he's kind of like, he's building up to like how to tell if you're demon possessed. So he's kind of laying the groundwork here, I feel. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for coming. Hello, Poison Pettifor, everyone else. Hi. Nada's Kitchen. Hello.
If people do this, and there are some that follow this line.
Oh, Summer Cats. Summer Cats. Father McPherson? You do? Cool. He's talking about demonology and how to know if you're possessed.
End up in the next category, which is possession.
Aha.
This is when demons actually enter into you. Now, what's interesting about the way that I've drawn this is that everything is overlapping because you don't move like in a linear fashion. You kind of drift from one to the other. And it's so subtle that sometimes people will find themselves in this place, but this is few. This is not everyone. Everyone who entertains demonic energy or bad thoughts or anger or maliciousness towards somebody else is not necessarily demon possessed. What are the hallmarks or some of the hallmarks of demon possession? One of the most frequent that I see and that I hear is when people begin to do things that they don't want to do. Saint Nicodemus, or Saint Nicodemus, in his writings, he talks about the fact that when sin becomes habitual, the person begins to lose control, and they start to do things that used to be voluntary. Now it becomes involuntary. Let me give you an example. I knew a man one time who was trying to get sober, and he said, I would tell myself every day I would get sober, and he says I would almost be in a blackout sober, where I would kind of come to myself and I would be in the liquor store buying liquor. And he said, inevitably, I would keep buying it, even though I had told myself I wouldn't do that. I have talked with people who have borderline personality disorder, who talk about going into a rage where it's a blackout, and they forget everyone that they love and everyone that they have a relationship with, even to the point of becoming violent. And then afterwards, they said that they kind of come back to themselves. Yep. These are the hallmarks of possession. This is somebody has. Okay.
Amber, be gone. Yeah, I think, and this is Grunge. I just wanna respond to what you're saying. You're saying that how does anyone know what religion is the correct one? I don't think there is one correct religion. I think whatever works for you, whatever is best for you, and what you decide on. There's so many. Like I remember just as a teenager knowing that the Roman Catholic Church was not for me. I was not feeling it one little bit, and I tried to ask questions and I was shot down. So if I can't ask questions, no, I'm not going to accept anything by blind faith, which is what they asked me to do. So I researched a ton of different religions, and I never even actually looked into Islam at the time. So yeah, everything is subjective. Absolutely. Yeah. We're listening to an Orthodox Catholic priest. This isn't a religion that I follow. This isn't a religion that many of us follow. He's talking about demon possession from the Catholic point of view. I don't always want to bring, Islam to you and, can we mix it up a little bit? You know what I mean? But I don't believe in Catholicism now, but I can still, take in what he's saying and consider it. And it's okay. People have different ideas and beliefs. Yeah. Orthodox has its own views. Yeah. Yep. Don't let ALR hear it. So what I was going to say is the borderline personality disorder. Yes, that does happen, but that is a real personality disorder. I don't think personally it's a demon possessing a person. I don't think everyone with borderline personality disorder or a mental illness is demon possessed. I think that gets scary because then you start taking away psychiatry and medications and saying, oh, just give them an exorcism. I think for me, in my mind, that takes us back centuries. It's not demons. Yeah, I don't think it's demons either. That is true, Poison Pettyford. It's a huge difference. Possession also means something different for the practitioners of voodoo. It certainly does. Yes. Yes, it does. Okay. I'm just scrolling back up through because I love to see what you guys have to say. Okay. Fairy Nymph is saying number 1, infestation. Number 2, oppression. Number 3, obsession. Number 4, possession. Could you go into that a little bit more, Fairy Nymph? Summer Cats, he's nearby. He's a Russian Orthodox Catholic? Interesting. Okay.
Has given the demons free access to their soul, and the demons have begun to activate and act in such a way inside of them that is against their best interests, even to the point where they forget how they're doing things or even why they're doing things or even remembering how they got there. This is very serious. This is something everyone struggles with. It is treated with prayer and mindfulness and going to confession, this is something that we need to repent for, because we're always going to be struggling against our thoughts. But when we come to here, this is really, really where we need the intervention of the church and the priest. People who are possessed will often come into the church and have very intensive thoughts, racing anxiety, fear. They can't turn their mind off. They think that people are judging them. They think that people are looking at them a certain way, or they're interpreting body language. Everything about their mindset becomes warped. If they come in contact, and this is something that many priests can testify to, with relics, which are the bones of the saints, they immediately repulse. They don't want to touch them. They don't want to get near them. People will throw themselves on the ground. When the priest reads the prayers of exorcism over people, when they become a catechumen and when they get baptized, they will experience things like nausea, sickness, even to the point of vomiting, revulsion, because demonic influence is not just on the level of the psychological, it's actually a physical and spiritual matter. And since the soul and the body are knit together, demonic power that is in your soul will manifest itself in illness. I cannot tell you how many people I know that were involved in the occult and tarot cards, fortune telling, all these things that had borderline like chronic illness problems that were happening with their body that were unexplainable.
For me, okay, and I mean, I listen to most of this, but for me, okay, and I'm just saying what I think. Everyone has their own different thoughts. Please feel free to express your own. First of all, Capricorn NJ, thank you. Sounds like your beliefs are similar to my mom's. She raised me with the belief that there is more than one path to God. There is no one right way. And that is what I think, exactly. Like, yeah. Look into everything. And then if it doesn't feel right to you, and cast it aside, move on to the next one. Fully look into everything. If you feel that religion is something that you need in your life, many people don't, and that's okay too. This is also similar to a New Age belief, though. Illness manifests in the body because of negative thoughts, says Poison Petty 4. Yes, I have also read about that. Yes. I knew I was going to lose my train of thought. Shoot, let me just back up like a few seconds.
Demons manifests itself in illness, physical sickness, even to the point of don't want to touch them. They don't want to get near them.
Oh yeah. So he's talking about like the saints or something, bones, like people who are possessed get revulsion. So there's something similar in Islam where if Quran is being recited, people who are possessed with something become ill. Like they get headaches. I knew a girl who was married to an Egyptian man and she hated having Quran played in the house. And I was like, really? She was from, I think, was it Switzerland? I don't remember. Yeah, there was a girl there definitely from Switzerland. I'm not sure if she was, but she married an Egyptian guy, and she was like, whenever he plays Quran in the house, I can't stand it. And I was like, what? It makes me like relaxed. It makes me feel peaceful, calm. And I'm like, she's like, it gives me a headache. And I didn't know anything about all this before that. And I went home and told my ex, and he's like, oh boy. And he didn't really get into it with me. And what he's saying about the exorcism, there is something in Islam called ruqya, which is very similar, basically. It's reciting Quranic surahs in succession and in repetition that can help to drive out a demon. So like whenever I feel spooked out in any way, I don't necessarily play ruqya, but I play it's called the Four Cools in my house. It's just recitation and repetition. But people who can't stand the word of God, they get all like, it's like they may have something in them that is like making it impossible for them to be around the word of God. It's pretty interesting to me. But yeah, illness being a demon, I mean, we know so much more now in science, I think. I mean, maybe like 1 in 10,000, but I mean, there is science and biology.
People will throw themselves on the ground. When the priest reads the prayers of exorcism over people when they become a catechumen and when they get baptized, they will experience things like nausea, sickness, even to the point of vomiting, revulsion, because demonic influence is not just on the level of the psychological, it's actually a physical and spiritual matter. And since the soul and the body are knit together, demonic power that is in your soul will manifest itself in illness. I cannot tell you how many people I know that were involved in the occult and tarot cards, fortune telling, all these things that had borderline like chronic illness problems that were happening with their body that were unexplainable. The demons always torture the soul, but along with the soul, they also torture the body. Last but not least, this is the rarest, is a demoniac. We read about the demoniac in the Gospels. Demoniacs are people
I've never heard this word before. Demoniac. Hey, Lord Baroque.
Don't just have a single demon or maybe even a couple demons that are plaguing their soul, but they become completely taken over by the demonic influence to the point where they can't live in society. They have to go outside of society. They historically were people that were essentially homeless. They were crazy. They were violent. They were unpredictable. They did display supernatural and superhuman strength. I've heard several stories about people who showed this type of unnatural power. This is the most serious. And it's very rare that it happens. Most people fall somewhere into here. A lot of people entertain a lot of demonic thoughts and experience demonic energy. Few people actually get to the point of possession, and very rarely you'll have somebody who ends up on the streets. I remember years ago in the Gospels where Christ says to the demon, "Tell me your name," and he says, "My name is Legion." And reading an article.
I almost said Petty for. Poison Petty for is talking about this in the chat right now. Well, isn't that something? So Poison Petty for says Legion was in a demoniac in the Gospels. Jesus cast it into swine. So Legion is that like that's like a whole group of demons, right? Get 10 points in Bible Bowl.
Article from someone who wanted to give their pronouns, and in that article they said, "What are your pronouns?" And they said, "My pronouns are Legion." Because there are many of us. I would be hard pressed to believe that this person had read the Gospels or was quoting the Gospels, but was actually speaking of a supernatural evil that had taken over them. Wow. So, what are the solutions? First and foremost, we must guard ourselves by being in the church, meaning the Holy Orthodox Church. Within the church, I have seen that there is the power to combat all of these and these. We must be revealing our thoughts and being corrected on those things that are bringing demonic energy into our life. We must be diligent in saying the Jesus prayer and guarding our thoughts and minds and guarding our hearts from demonic influence. And if we end up in the case of being in one of these later categories, we need to find an Orthodox priest who is equipped to help us through the exorcism process in order to restore our souls to normality. I hope that this is helpful for you, both looking at your life and potentially maybe even seeing some people around you. And in the next video, I'll talk about my youth and where I fell on this. God bless.
Okay. He didn't actually. This is our next
The Orthodox
video.
Christian.
But yeah, he didn't actually talk about that in his next video. Unfortunately, I was really like, whoa, okay. Yeah, that would have been super interesting. Okay. Let's see. Fairy Nymph is giving the numbers. Let's see. Okay, number 1, infestation, basically me. Hear voices, physical things moving, apparitions, odors without a known cause. Okay. 2, oppression, physical attacks, sleep disorders, relationship problems, depression. Okay. And 3, obsession. Can't function, obsessed, know an entity is trying to take over their body, suicidal. Okay. 4, possession takeover, but not totally, but it can take over completely at certain times. Whoa. So is that to say that, like, let's say, like, what most people think of as ghosts are actually, like, testing you to see if they can get a demon to enter you? More or less? That sounds, I know it sounds like I'm really watering that way down. But, okay. Yeah, no one's free of sin. Absolutely not. Nobody. That was actually one of the problems I had being a Catholic, was that, you know, how is me talking to this dude sitting in a dark box going to absolve me of my sins? I have to go to this guy in order to talk to God. I can't talk to him directly. That was always something that rubbed me wrong. Okay. And let's see. English Virgo. The minister who helped me a bit with my oppression was training for ministry with a guy that suddenly changed. In the end, he would vomit severely just passing a church, and turned out to be he was possessed. Wow. Yeah. Can't even go past a church. Definitely can't go in. Yeah, I've heard of that too. How interesting. We are legion, for we are many. That's where it comes from. Wow. Those descriptions are correct, but unfortunately they also fall under schizoaffective disorders. That's true. That's very true. Yeah. Ghosts and demonic entities are completely different. Ghosts can be bad as people in life are bad. Demonic entities were never alive as a human being. Okay. Oh, interesting. So we're gonna do another one. Now, if you are interested, okay, and if the vibe still feels good in here after this next video, which is it's a little bit longer, but I do have a video that we can watch if you want to hear actual jinn possession of a person. And I was very skeptical watching, and then when I heard it, like a shiver ran down my spine. I was like, that's fucking real. Holy shit. Okay. So we'll do this one next. And, you know, I'm going off of vibes here. As long as our circle of protection, our prayers, whatever you use, your white light, whatever helps you to feel protected from any of this crap that's out there, any of this demonic crap, then if the vibe still feels good, we'll watch that. But we will have to be prepared for it, because it is shocking. It is absolutely shocking. Okay. You're still afraid to speak of what you experienced supernatural in your past, FW11? I usually don't talk about mine because I feel like talking about it brings the energy back. You know what I mean? If you've been through it, you probably know exactly what I mean. Yeah. Okay. This is Father. It's called Roots for Orthodoxy. His name's about to come up here. And the title of this one is The Unseen World, Demon Possession and Exorcism. Okay. Both of these channel links are in the description. Okay.
Has to be constantly aware that the invisible world is always active.
Father Paul Trubenbach, Saints Peter and Paul Orthodox Church. Okay.
We're extremely cautious with everything, including ourselves. We recognize that any thought or impulse we have may be from God, but it also may just be psychological from us, or it may be from the demons. And we have to recognize in all humility that we probably don't have the discernment to distinguish one from another. Well, the great saints and elders have that discernment. When we don't have that discernment, we tend to be pretty distrustful of ourselves, which is why we go to our spiritual father. But we are ever aware of the demonic world around us. At the same time, we're not hyper-focused on it. We don't become obsessed with it. We don't give more attention than it's due. And I think this is spiritually one of the dangers that people make, is that when they do have something happening in their spiritual life that they feel is demonic, sometimes if you begin to really worry about it and give it more focus than it's due, you actually strengthen it. For instance, people are sometimes surprised when they have what are their logis me? What are these random thoughts that comes up that's particularly kind of crazy? I'm driving down the road and out of the blue I have a thought with my kids in the back of the car to jerk the wheel and careen my car off the road and kill us all. And it's a fleeting thought, it's in and out. And I go, I've never had a thought like that before. What just happened? Well, if I give it hyper focus, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to strengthen it. I'm going to start worrying about it. I'm going to start giving it a power that it doesn't otherwise have. But if in those moments we can learn to say, I'm going to put my thoughts right back on Christ and just say, Lord, I know that thought was crazy. That didn't come from me. Clearly didn't come from you. Banish those thoughts from me and then go right back to your prayer life and your world of peace. You're going to be better off. I teach people all the time. I tell them one of the greatest spiritual tools I can give them is called the holy shrug. And the holy shrug is to take something that has happened and just say, yeah, okay, and go back to normal life. Because otherwise you give it way more credit than it's due. And if the thought isn't helping you, then why are you giving it attention in the first place? Don't let
Timo says that theory sucks. Okay, tell us more. Tell us more. I happen to agree with what he's saying here because I've experienced a lot of stuff. Okay. And I do find that the more attention you give it, the more it feeds it. And it gets bigger and bigger. Like, yeah, I've had a lot happen. You lived in a haunted house, yeah. Like Bilton was haunted, not for the faint of heart. It is needed to have some grounding, fair warning. Absolutely. Absolutely, Tank Girl's Pet Dragon, yeah. I lived in an apartment that was haunted. And my fiance at the time pretty much thought I had lost my marbles completely because he only came up on the weekends. And so he didn't see what was happening during the week. And one night he woke up in the middle of the night and saw it in the doorway looking at us in bed. He saw it. And we get up in the morning and he's like, I saw it last night. And I just started crying. It was so stressful. I'm like, no, you're just trying to make me feel better. You're trying to make me feel like I'm not crazy. Well, I had like a whiteboard on my refrigerator. He went over and drew what it looked like. And I was like, oh my God, that's what I'm seeing. That is exactly what I'm seeing. And he's like, I saw it. I saw it. I mean, but I'd be home alone. I worked at night too. So I'd be getting home late at night. And that's when things are really active too. And like the more I reacted to things, the worse it got. It just kept getting worse and worse and worse. I had to move out. I just eventually had to move out.
Let it live rent-free in your head. Go back to holy things and focus on those as much as possible. So the St. Porphyrios method is really the best. And that's to fight for Christ with your back to the demons, rather than trying to fight directly against the demons with your back to Christ. Having said all that, we do take the demonic very seriously. We're very cautious of it. And I've had experiences that have absolutely awakened me to not only how seriously we need to take the demonic, but also how much more power Christ has over the demonic.
What does demon possession mean? How do the Orthodox view, that concept?
Yeah, Saint Cyril the Athonite, he gives a really clear explanation on this when he talks about how that possession really comes in different stages. When we hear the word possession, we tend to think of the Hollywood type of possession, where somebody has lost control of themselves because a demon is controlling them. This type of thing does happen. I know priests who have done exorcisms on people that were almost out of a Hollywood movie. Literally people levitating off the ground from demonic power, people speaking in languages they didn't know, and some really horrific things. But this is very rare. This is very rare. The demons much more so want to make us not aware of them. They want to make us not think about the spiritual world at all and just become obsessed with this world, the comforts and pleasures therein. And so there are many lesser levels of possession that we all have to deal with. And what St. Silouan says is this. He says, if you love your enemies, this is a sign that grace is within you. But if you hate your enemies, it's a sign that a demon is within you instead. Well, there's a certain level of possession. So possession really goes in different stages. But this is why the Orthodox baptismal service begins with an exorcism. The very first thing we do is we stand in the back of the church, and the priest makes the sign of the cross and breathes on the candidates, and then does 3 prayers of exorcism. St. Diadochos of Photikis says that what's happening in these prayers is that the nature of man is being restored. He says that before one is made a Christian, the demons and evil work from within the heart, and grace works from the outside, as if knocking on the door. But after baptism, and especially after these prayers, everything is reversed. Now grace naturally works from within, and the demons are the ones trying to attack from the outside. This is often why people after baptism experience much more difficult and violent demonic attacks on their spiritual life, as the demons are now trying to reclaim their territory. And this is exactly why Christ gives us the example after baptism of going into the desert to do what? To do battle with Satan. So we know that the demons are going to fight against us. So every Orthodox Christian, if you've been brought into the church, has experienced an exorcism on themselves.
Oh, wow.
But you do get cases. You do get cases where exorcisms are done on people or places in which it's a much deeper, higher level of possession. And I will tell you, I haven't done an exorcism like that with a person, but I have been part of exorcisms of places that were absolutely covered with demonic energy.
Wow.
And the experience is utterly life-changing. The most extreme case that I was a part of, I won't give any details of the place, but I will say that this was out in a more deserted area, and it was a series of buildings. And it just so happened that there had been stories in this area for many, many years of people seeing and hearing things that sounded ghostly or something like that, and sounded demonic. And the particular year that I was there, the activity increased exponentially. I actually wasn't a priest yet, but we did call in a priest and asked him to look at this area, and he consulted with some people who were more familiar with exorcisms. And after hearing all the stories, he decided that we were going to do the exorcism service of the church, which is just some prayers of St. Basil and St. John Chrysostom, and do them in every single building of this area. I will tell you that before he came, being outside at night alone was terrifying. I myself experienced seeing someone in a distance staring at me, and as I walked closer, they completely disappeared.
Yeah.
And I heard behind me footsteps when I was walking outside. And I will tell you that they were, in the middle of the night, as clear as could be, the sound of footsteps right behind me. And then you turn around and you see nothing there. Very few things have taught me how to pray the Jesus Prayer like that night. That was a terrifying night. And everyone who was there was experiencing things like this, hearing voices and other such things. What was incredible was, while that was terrifying, we saw the power of Christ, and we saw how much Christ has absolute power over the invisible world. What happened was we did the exorcism prayers for hours. It took hours to go from building to building and do them in every single one. But the next day we had an interesting situation. The night after these exorcism services, some of us were out at night, and we noticed there was a palpable difference. And some people may think this was simply psychological, but I'll tell you it wasn't. Being outside felt peaceful. You wanted to sleep outside under the stars. It just felt completely different. And of course, even we were wondering, is this just psychological? It certainly didn't feel psychological. It felt like this was an otherworldly peace that had entered this area. And then the next morning, something really fascinating happened. Even though this was kind of a secluded area out in the wilderness, we never considered the fact that we rarely ever saw animals around that area. But the morning after the exorcisms, it was like a Disney movie. Deer, owls, rabbits,
Owls?
all over the place.
Yeah.
As if nature itself recognized that demonic energy was
Yeah,
gone,
yeah,
and they all
animals
flooded
know.
there.
Animals
It was one of the
know.
most incredible things I've ever experienced. And
Yep.
again, the lesson for me was not to fear the demonic as much as it was as to stick close to Christ, because Christ's power over the demonic was so incredibly palpable. It was an unforgettable experience.
Wow.
What type of things open us up to the demonic? What are things that we should avoid, in our day-to-day lives that we might not be aware of that are actually might open up doors for demons to enter into our lives?
Just don't sin, and you don't have to worry about it. It's simple. So, obviously, whenever we sin, we align ourselves. This is kind of what salvation will be. Is one of the ways of looking at salvation is have we aligned ourselves more with the angels or the demons? They're going to argue about what do our souls look like? Do they look more demonic or more angelic? And so, I mean, really, just struggling in the spiritual life for Christ and constantly seeking His grace and His forgiveness is a protection in and of itself. It's also wise to stay away from any spiritual practices that are not orthodox, especially those that participate in the occult. Some people make light of these things and they don't actually think they're participating in them, the Ouija board and things like that. But even in other areas.
If I can give you one singular piece of advice in the whole time you ever listen to me, I'm very serious, do not mess around with a Ouija board. I was one of those people. They were like, oh, it's just fun. It's just the telekinetic whatever from coming from our finger. Don't do it. It's not. It's not a toy. Oh, but it's whatever toy making company. No. Don't. I'm very, very serious. And I used to laugh and people would be like, oh, it's demonic. It's a portal. I'm like, what? Whatever. You're putting your finger on a thing. It's like my friend is probably pushing it. No. Yeah, Poison Pettyfour says, I'm a witch and I don't play with those things. Yep. Maybe pause on Crisco Windows. Does he have a video of himself performing an exorcism? Because I swear I've seen him before. Possibly. I haven't checked out his channel fully. That's very possible. Yes, Queen Tut. It's like one of those things you don't touch, like inexperienced voodoo or hoodoo. You did it once, you still don't know what exactly happened. That was 20 years ago, Ashley. Yeah. Wow. Hey, Detective Cochise.
Becoming obsessed with horror movies and those types of things.
Chantal calling Chantal. Becoming obsessed with horror movies. Now, some people, NBC loves horror movies too. Shout out to NBC. Big ups. I know you're still out there. Maybe you can't chat yet for whatever reason. But okay. All right.
The vast majority of cases, are you going to see, direct and overt possessions after these? No, probably not. But we do acclimate ourselves to evil in that sense. To be entertained by evil is a really, really odd thing. To be entertained by watching somebody go around and kill people is odd. And to be entertained by some of the demonic movies is odd. So
Chantal.
I had a man in my first parish come up to me right as I was about to begin Orthros one Sunday. And he asked me, do you Orthodox do exorcisms? Now, whenever somebody asks you that, there's a story behind it. So I said, tell me what happened. I said, I have to start the service in about 5 minutes. So I don't have a lot of time, but tell me what happened. He said that he thought it would be funny to take some occult imagery and to make on Halloween a fake casket with a rope and to drag it around town.
He thought that would be funny. Now, he's not asking this priest if it's okay to do that. He has already done it when he comes to him. He has already done this. He tied a rope around a casket and dragged it around behind him at Halloween as a joke. Okay. Capricorn NJ, as a young adult, my friends and I used Ouija, had a bad experience and stopped. My mother told her priest, thought he would laugh. He said, you tell them they have no business contacting the other side. Amen. Amen, Capricorn NJ. Thank you so much. Yeah. Amen. Yes. Any demons close by listening, you're gonna have to get out of our town. You're not welcome here.
Oh, pizza flavor? Pizza chips. Get out of my town.
Yeah. Thank you, Capricorn NJ. Okay. So went to the priest and said, "Oh, I thought it would be funny to tie a rope around a casket and drag it around for Halloween to make it would be funny." And now he's talking to the priest saying, "Do you do exorcisms?" Okay.
And just to kind of mock some of the Christian beliefs about death and the demonic and things like that. And he said ever since he had done that, he had felt a presence behind him, and that he was waking up in the middle of the night with scratches on his body, hearing growling, and at one point he woke up and he saw a dark figure above him with this hot breath right on his face. And he said no matter what he had done, he couldn't get rid of it. This was about 3 weeks after Halloween. And he said he really regretted what he had done. I told him, listen, I don't have a lot of time right now, and I was a very new priest. I needed to kind of consult at that time. But I said, I need to go start the service, but here's what I want you to do. I want you to stay. And if you can't stay right now, come back for liturgy. Come back for the divine liturgy, and afterwards, I promise you we'll talk. Unfortunately, he never showed up again. He left and didn't come back. I have no idea.
The demon probably prevented him from going back, I would think.
What happened to him to this day. But that is one of many cases I've seen of people who have dabbled with mocking the demonic or dabbling in occultism and having significant problems afterwards.
What about things that might seem harmless, like listening to secular music, rap music, you know, where a lot of the themes that are being talked about in the music is like killing, but you know, some people rationalize it and like, well, I'm not thinking about those things. I just like the energy of the song, and I like.
Can I just say, why are we specifically singling out rap music? Okay, hip hop and rap are my absolute favorite, and I don't listen to artists who talk about killing or disrespecting women. All rap is not like that, you know. For real, it's not all getting high, sipping on that scissor and shooting people. It really is not. It's just not. It's always rap or metal. Yeah. Yep. Hey, Susie Q. Chantal should never have fooled with the Ouija board, and she never closed it. I don't even know if it matters to close it or not. Once something gets out, you know what I mean? It gets out. I don't know.
How it makes me feel.
Yeah.
What about things like that?
Yeah, I remember growing up, I was into rock and alternative, and I remember somebody
Detective Coach, he says the Reverend MC Hammer.
once calling rock demonic. And I laughed, and I said, it's just utterly ridiculous. This is not demonic music. They're not talking about demons. They're not worshiping demons. There's no demonic imagery in the bands that I was following. But as I grew older and hopefully matured a bit, I started to see that when we say that things are demonic, we don't necessarily mean demonic in the overt sense.
Right.
What we mean is that there's something about this that displays a demonic energy. It's kind of interesting. I would listen to some of that music, and I would notice that I would be an angrier person after listening to it. Or sometimes I would just be more secular. I would have a looser sense of morals. So these things do get into us. And we have to believe that. We have to believe that what enters the body in the senses doesn't then just pass through and leave us without leaving its mark. Everything we consume in that sense leaves some sort of fingerprint. And the fingerprint of secularism itself may not be, again, overtly demonic, but does it lend itself towards a more secular perspective, which means less Christ-centered? Yes. And is that not in itself a form of being demonic? So again, this is not necessarily going to lead us to demon worship, and I think that's what a lot of people assume, but it does actually acclimate ourselves to an anti-Christian worldview. And so we need to be cautious about those things. Now, having said that, pastorally, when somebody says, do I just need to get rid of all these aspects of my life? I take my kids to movies sometimes, rarely. There's not many movies that are worthwhile these days, but maybe once a year I take them to a movie. So I'm not saying that everything in your life needs to be religiously based in every sense. I think if people who jump in too hard, too fast with that, they can't take it anymore, and eventually they just leave and say, this was too tough for me.
Yeah.
So things like, video games, movies, music, I tell people what they need to do is they need to start weaning themselves off of those things until the attraction leaves. If you're going to play video games, maybe you're playing 8 hours a day. why don't you try playing 7.5 hours a day and then spending that other half hour praying? And then set a timer after you've gotten used to that and say, okay, let's make it 7 and pray for half an hour, maybe 40 minutes now, and keep weaning yourself down. I think it's the same thing with music, with TV. As much as I argue that people shouldn't live their spiritual life like a checklist, I think having a checklist is actually a really good thing on a daily basis. And part of my checklist, there are things that I want to watch. There are things I may want to listen to that may not be directly related to my faith. But those things get placed under other spiritual tasks, such that if I have not done my prayers, if I have not done my spiritual reading, if I haven't done my prostrations, if I haven't done whatever it is, then I don't get. So it's like a reward system for me. So I never try to prioritize the secular over the spiritual. I always try to prioritize the secular over the spiritual over the secular. That takes time. And so we need to wean ourselves in that regard. When I did that with myself, with music, because even when I was a priest, I still liked listening to a lot of that music that I used to enjoy. What I did is I made a rule for myself. I'm going to pray the Jesus prayer in the car for however long, depending on the drive, and then I can listen to what I want. Over time, I increased that time of prayer. Now, I can't tell you how much I look forward to that peace and silence. I don't like the radio on in the car. I like that time for prayer. I covet it. I look forward to it. It's one of the few times I have utter quiet in my life. And so every now and then I go, I kind of miss listening to this song. I might put it on, but it doesn't fill me anymore. I find that the spiritual life is so much more fulfilling. It's like having a choice between like a choice steak perfectly cooked and having a little bowl of cheap ground beef from Taco Bell or something. Maybe every now and then I go, oh man, I kind of miss Taco Bell, and I take a couple spoonfuls and then I go, I really want the beef again. I want the steak. I want to go right back to the steak. And this is how the spiritual life is. So we have to learn to fall in love. And that it doesn't take effort. It takes a relearning about what the heart is really yearning for. And when you do, you kind of stay away from those things a little bit more. But if we delve too much into the video games, the pop culture, the music and stuff, without realizing it, it leaves its imprint on our heart, and it does open us to taking things less seriously. And I think that was how I was when I was young, going full circle when somebody called the music demonic, and that's why I laughed about it. I don't laugh about it anymore.
How much does intent play a role in our worship? So what I mean by
But again, about the music, I mean, you do hear about like very, very popular music, right? That at these now I don't know if this is true. Like I just watch YouTube a lot. That at these record companies, like some people say there's like a room and there's like a pentagram on the floor, which is, whatever you practice, that's fine. But like they are trying to infuse the music with an entity so that it becomes like an earworm, like you just want to hear the song over and over and you can't get the lyrics out of your head and things like that. Now that to me might be, that could be an issue. That could be an issue. But like music itself, I don't know. But Google it or YouTube it. Yeah, search for it on YouTube. It's like there's a lot of videos on that. At these I don't know, hexagram. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly which gram. It wasn't Instagram. I know that. Symbolism, yes, very much. Yeah. Yeah, things that you're not aware of. Things that, like you were saying, aren't overt. Like you're going to look at it and be like, oh, that's a Satan worshiping band. Like it can be sometimes very covert that you wouldn't even notice, like symbols and things like that. Yeah. But also Islam does not like music either. So when multiple religions say the same thing, I feel like there's a reason for it. I don't know exactly what the reasons are, but does that mean whoever wrote Bop was evil? Yes, it does. Absolutely. Yep. And let's see. So Maz is talking about some of her experiences here. Yours fed on fear too. I'm just trying to find your messages, Maz. Because you had a lot to say. Okay. You never had luck with the board yourselves. Your little sister was haunted the most in the house. It was the most visible to her. Your oldest sister was attacked one Christmas night. It could have been sleep paralysis, but something locked the door. I mean, my little sister and I were in the front room playing on our new Sega the night it happened. It was a long time ago. Wow. You got DNA tests for 2 of your 3 dogs and got the. Oh, that's awesome. Let us know. Let us know about that. That's pretty cool. That's very cool. Wow. Yeah. Poison Pettifor says, and Chantal bought a love spell candle from Etsy while she was with you know who. That turned out so well. I mean, whenever you're trying to force someone's free will against them, like to take away their free will, if they want to be with you or not, that's when things become a problem. You can't alter someone else's free will. It's going to definitely come back on you. Yeah. The message is to corrupt our faith. Okay. Wow. This woman that my sister had seen in her dreams came to her bed, climbed on her, and held her down. My sister fought back with such force she came up off the bed when she finally broke free. Holy crap. I guess, I don't know if this is what it was, but they call that like the old hag, I guess. Like the sleep paralysis demon or something. Yikes. Yeah, definitely say a few words of protection also before you go to bed tonight. She then went to run out of the room only to find the door locked. What the hell? That's crazy.
That can we unknowingly worship a demon perhaps? Or maybe a lot of us participate in what might be demonic unknowingly. Like drinking products that have satanic symbolism on it, like a Monster can. Or
Does Monster have satanic symbols? I love Monster. Does it have satanic symbols on it?
I remember, just to give you an example, I was a big anime fan growing up, and one of the symbols in the anime that I liked, I didn't know it at the time, but it was actually a 666. But the way it was presented, I didn't make the connection until one of my mom's coworkers, she saw it and she's like, she like gasped and she's like, "Why are you satanic?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? This is from my favorite show." So like, we can do things that in which we participate in the demonic, but can we unknowingly worship the demons? Is that something that can happen?
I'll have to speculate a little bit on my answer here. I would be really curious to find out what some of the holy figures I know would say about this. I definitely defer to them over what I say. But the first thing I'd say is we need a lot of balance. We don't want to become too fundamentalist with this, so that we see the demonic everywhere and we get hyped up on it. We get overexcited about it. We need to be sober-minded about this. We need to be even-handed in things. And we need to make sure that whatever we're doing with a lot of discernment. At the same time, anything that promotes, even in underhanded ways, the demonic, for us, is not something we would want to support in the first place. And if they're putting demonic symbols on things in hidden ways, we have to ask what the intent of the creator was in the first place. And we have to be willing to look at that and say, okay, this is, as much as I may enjoy this is not a difficult sacrifice for me. I can put this stuff away because clearly the creators have an intent that runs against my Christian faith and is working against Christ. As for this question, really interesting question of can we unintentionally worship? I suspect that I would answer by saying we can unintentionally participate in worship. I don't know if it's the same thing as directly worshiping, but we can participate in that which appears to be and maybe has connection to worship. So first we have to ask the question, what is worship? I typically define worship as seeking to become like the object of our worship in the first place. But there's more to it than that. Worship necessitates some sort of sacrifice. Now, whenever we consume media, we are sacrificing time and money for those things. And so there is a bit of sacrifice involved in these things. and it may not be consciously thought of it in such a way, but there is a bit of sacrifice. And if in participating in these things or consuming them, we are constraining our thoughts, if we find that we're thinking about these things when we're not doing them, especially if they're interfering with our own prayer life, we've clearly caused a distortion to our worship of Christ in the first place. So to me, it seems like we are actually unwittingly participating in some sort of worship. And even if it's not completely intentional, we are intentionally consuming or participating in these things, even if we didn't recognize it as worship.
So I know in Islam, intention is everything. Like what I think of when they're talking like this about this kind of thing is the Travis Scott concert in Texas, the Astro World. As far as I'm concerned, okay, many people died at this concert from crush injuries because the audience was over capacity. Many people died. And he just ignored everyone that said, oh, there's something happening over here. And like concert people that worked for him they wouldn't stop the show for anything, for nothing. And then you see like, just some of the imagery throughout the concert and his, what's her name? One of the Kardashians was there. And it's like, was this a ritual? Was this a ritual? I think it was, straight up. I'll just tell you. I absolutely think it was. There's so much like pointing to that. And a sacrifice on top of that. Which as a native Houstonian, he ruined the Astroworld name forevermore, and that makes me sad. I had never even heard of it before that weekend. I think it absolutely was a ritual. And it makes me wonder, so what they're talking about intention, like, well, you are participating in it, and okay, but do these concert goers who just like the music, are they participating in a ritual from a demonic standpoint if their intention is only to go for the concert? And that's where, for me, the Islamic view makes much more sense. Did you know about it, A, and B, were you consciously taking part in it? I mean, that's like the determinant in Islam. So someone like Chantal celebrating the whole month of November for Halloween, she said today, or yesterday, whatever. The whole entire month of November is going to be her Halloween. She is aware that it's forbidden in Islam. Not only is she going to celebrate it, period, which is not allowed, she's going to extend it for an entire month. So she has the knowledge, and her intention is set. So now, if she was a brand new Muslim and she didn't know that Halloween was like a forbidden thing, and she was like, oh yeah, I'm just going to hand out candy, and she truly didn't know, that would be forgiven. But we know that she knows, and we know that she intends to override, because to her, it's a cultural thing, and she doesn't care about the religious aspect of it. And I do think the hijab is coming off in record time as soon as she lands in Canada. I do. I really do. Yeah, that's what she said, the whole month of November. Yep. That is what she said. Yes. That's right, Ashley. It isn't hard to stop the show when people need help. Taylor Swift did it a lot, and I've seen other artists do it too. And ever since Astroworld, a lot of performers have been stopping shows and being like, are you all right? Are you all right? I mean, I really looked a lot into all of that, how those injuries and deaths happen, how they're so easily prevented. And sometimes it's greed from the concert promoters, sometimes the performers. It's just awful. Speaking of events and rituals, the owner of Endless Nights Vampire Balls was exposed on Cults to Consciousness not long ago. He was doing something similar. Oh my God. I'm going to have to watch that. I watch that channel sometimes. So he was consciously doing that? He knew he was doing that? I'm definitely watching that. Oh my God. Oh. And imagine just being a concert goer. Like, oh, it's a vampire ball. Yeah, let's dress up like my owl here, Let's dress up, let's go to the vampire ball. And you think you and your girlfriends are just going to have a good time. And like, people are sacrificed knowingly. Knowingly. You're being drawn into these things and to be knowingly sacrificed for whatever that person believes in. You've been to those? Oh my God, Poison Pettifor, thank God you're okay. That is horrific. That is horrific. And every time, and that apology that Travis Scott tried to give afterwards was a fucking joke. It made me even more enraged. Even more so. Wow. There was a Grateful Dead show that had a similar thing happen. Okay. I know The Who. It happened with The Who. It happened at a soccer game. And it's always like the same components that come together that make it happen. And it's easily preventable. It was a sacrifice of energy, psychic vampire. Oh, okay. Well, still. Psychic vampires. No unaliving took place. But still, you leave there completely depleted and exhausted and maybe something could follow you home from something like that. If that's what he's doing, He was also essaying some women who were close to him. Oh, of course. Oh, it always goes all the way, doesn't it? It always goes all the way down into the pits of hell. Once you see like, oh, okay, something's not right here. Yeah, just keep following it. You'll get down there. Anytime you have that many people in one place, the risk of stampede is pretty high. Yeah. It's literally physics. It's fascinating. Not fascinating in like, wow, these people died this way, but how preventable it is and how, because I've listened to a lot of people that it happened to that were caught in a crowd surge, and it's absolutely horrifying. That's true, FW11. A lot of celebrities have had a family member die right before they make it in the music industry. A lot, yes. Peach Cobbler says, large crowds freak me out ever since that Halloween in South Korea. Yep. And wasn't there something called like a love festival, something like that? That happened like that too? Yes, the crowd moves like a fluid, yes. And there are experts who study that. It's really interesting. And it can be really prevented. And the one piece of advice, listen to me and all my weirdo advice tonight. Here's another piece of weirdo advice that just keep it in the back of your mind if you're ever in a huge crowd. And I mean like any kind of huge crowd, a protest, a concert, anything where there's just like a whole lot of people. Like it seems like maybe there's too many people. Like you can hardly walk around. Move yourself to the edge of the crowd, because it's the people in the center and in the front. They can't get out to the edge because the force of the crowd behind them pushing forward, they can't get to the edge to get out of it. So try to stay to the edge as much as possible. Every time I take my son to something like that, I tell him to never go with the crowd. Yes. Yeah, Deb. Neotero says Chantal's dabbling with it. Yep. Oh, yeah, a lot of tarot card readers have been saying that she's into it. She is into it. And if you're trying to twist someone's free will against them, it is going to come back on you. It absolutely will. You can't hold someone to be with you if that's not really what their higher selves want to do. Parades, yeah. Yep. Anything, and especially emotional events where people want to get like closer and closer. And people from the back, they want to move forward. They want to get closer to the front, move to the side. You may even be able to get closer to the front if you're on the side, actually. You wear crystals and other things for spiritual protection at events. Physically also know where your exits are and have a plan if something goes sideways that night. Yes, absolutely. Because people tend to leave places the way that they came in. It's just a human nature thing to go back the way you came, but you may not be able to get out that way. So make sure, even like when you're buying, if you're going to a concert and you're buying your tickets online and you're picking your seat, just take a glance at like where are the exits in relation to my seat. And you don't know, maybe you take a screenshot, maybe you don't. But like just kind of keep things in the back of your mind like, oh yeah, there's one towards the front on the left, which no one else is going to because everyone's going up and to the right, Yeah.
That's why the Christian needs to be very consciously aware of what he's doing, and how things affect him. And again, that goes back to something we've already discussed, but it goes back to the idea that the more we acclimate ourselves and resonate ourselves with the life of grace, the more we're going to begin noticing when things are out of sync with that resonance.
So true.
And that is something that is necessary in the Christian life. The only way
it's necessary in any life, in my opinion, discernment. You can't discern demonic energy unless you've been in the light the majority of the time. If you're kind of dabbling in and out and you're around that energy frequently, you're not going to be able to discern it when it's truly around you. But it stands out like a sore thumb if you're not in it. Peach Cobbler says, my friend did a love spell candle on her ex in college. He started stalking her and slashed her tires. It took 3 shops to find someone who knew how to stop it. Ugh. Yeah. Sometimes it's like when I wish for stuff, when I want stuff to happen, this is why I say God willing, because if God says, no, this really isn't actually in your best interest, even though you really think it is right now, I'll get something better for you, or I'm preventing something bad from happening to you, God willing, like I think, I know I want this, but hey, God willing, if it happens, it's God's will. If it doesn't, it's God's will. Yeah.
that you're going to resonate more with true grace, though, is to keep inviting grace in through prayer. And this is why prayer life needs to be the main work. This is the main work and main focus of the Christian.
Hey, Pagan RN.
The messenger of Allah,
listen to this.
Muhammad sallallahu alaihi.
Okay, listen to this. This just happened to be in my playlist. Listen to this. Santeria. I'm not a follower, but I believe I've experienced things from the Caribbean. Let's just say it's absolutely a real thing. Yeah. So this I saved because of Chantal wanting everything handed to her. It's just in my playlist. Let me take off the creepy owl. Okay. Yeah, it's a short.
Wasallam, peace be upon him, said, "No one has ever eaten better food than what he earns with his own hands." Meaning, honest work and self-reliance are beloved to Allah. Narrated by Al-Miqdam ibn Madi Karib, mentioned in Sahih al-Bukhari hadith.
Yeah. So, why don't you work for it there, Chantal? Okay? Not that she's following this religion anymore, I don't believe at all. No one has ever eaten better food than what he earns with his own hands. And it's specifically talking about food. You just want everything handed to you. You just want people that you feel you're owed donations from your viewers, that they owe it to you. I mean, it's pretty simple, but it's true. How do you really appreciate something if you didn't work for it? In my opinion. Okay. Also, also go left when entering amusement parks. Most will go to the right, so you go left to cut down on lines. Yeah, it is instinct to go right. Yep, for most people. Yeah. She probably will, Fairy Nymph, because, rule number 1 and rule number 2, she will out herself eventually at some point. Like, yeah, I never really did this. Yeah. Like someone was calling her out, like, you were miserable in Kuwait. And the whole time she was in Kuwait, she was like, no, why do you think I'm so unhappy? Why? I'm not. You're just a jerk. You're just a hater. And a couple days ago, she's like, yeah, I was pretty miserable and bored. It's like, oh my God. So it'll come out eventually. Yeah. Okay, so I still feel like we're passing the vibe check so far. And I think we can watch the video that I mentioned earlier. And if you are coming in after I mentioned this, hey, Kathy Sinclair. Absolutely, if you pay for your tuition yourself, you'll take it more seriously. Yes. I think most things. Working for something, you really appreciate it and you treat it that much more carefully. Like buying your own vehicle, making car payments, not just having someone hand you a foodie scooty, You'll take care of it a lot more because you worked so hard for it. Okay. Sneaks back in with sushi. Welcome back. All right. So I mentioned earlier, I do have a video and I said, we'll watch it if things still feel okay in here. And they do to me. I am going to strongly suggest whatever you believe in, okay, or nothing, whatever. I'm going to strongly suggest placing some type of protection around you or asking your deity or your power for protection through this, because the first time, actually, I've only listened to it once. I didn't even want to go back and listen to it again. But when I listened to it, I felt a chill go down my spine. No, it's not a loud thing. It's not a jump scare. It's nothing like that. It's very normal until it's not. And all it is a call-in show. And there's two, like it's an Islamic call-in show. And there's these two guys sitting on a stage and a woman calls in. That's all it is. That's all it is. Puppy's okay. It was either I go get food now and eat, go to bed early, or I was going to nap and wake up at midnight. Okay. All right, cool. Cool. Okay. So no, I don't think it's a volume issue. It's shocking though. All right. Let me bring it up. I don't even have it saved. So I'm just typing in the title. I looked for it while we were watching that other guy. There it is. I'm surprised it only has 200,000 views. I'm shocked. I thought it would have millions. Okay. All right. So, thanks, Christian. I mean, I've experienced a lot in my life. Like, whatever people, it's none of my business what anyone else believes. I don't care. I truly don't care. Like, whatever. As long as you're a decent person and we all get along pretty well, like, it shouldn't be an issue. Some people want to make it an issue, though. I don't know. Whatever. That's not my issue, though. Okay. All right. So, Islam, Peace, and Equality, I guess is the channel name. Okay. Now, so we've discussed, I'm just going to go over quickly. We have discussed what jinn are in the past. Okay. Jinn, in Islam, we believe that God created 3 types of beings: angels, mankind, and jinn. That's it. And jinn were made of a smokeless flame, fire. They live amongst us all the time. You thought I was going to say coast to coast. Poison Petty Poor, I think you and I are like exactly the same age. So they live amongst us all the time. There are jinn who believe in God. There are jinn who don't believe in God. This is where we talked about crackhead jinn a while back, and someone made a name, crackhead jinn. So if the different jinn are attracted to kind of what they're like. So if you're a good person, if you mostly stay peaceful and harmonious, then you're going to attract those type of jinn. They're going to be around you anyway. and your energy attracts what their energy is. So I've used the example because it is really this extreme. They are as extreme as people are. You can have a nun person and the equivalent of, a jinn, and you can have a person hanging out in a crack house who's a complete crackhead. Just like, no offense against crackheads, okay? But like it is a lifestyle. And I hope you get through it and get done with it at some point, God willing. But it is a certain lifestyle that's very different than a nun, right? So there are also crackhead jinn, and they're going to be attracted to crack houses. Okay? So they're around us, we don't see them, and we are forbidden from interacting with them or trying to contact them. We are not supposed to do that at all. That's when things become a problem. And there is such a thing as jinn possession. We've talked about this a long time ago, but and this is why in Islam, things like making anything that can make you intoxicated. It doesn't matter necessarily what it is, of course, alcohol, anything that puts you out of your normal mind can leave you open to all sorts of things. And they do have free will. Yes, that's right, Kathy. Yep, they do have free will. And some jinn are jealous of humans for whatever, because we can do more than them, I guess. And some jinn want to be people. They want to be mankind, but they never will be. So they may find a human who is very, very open, maybe trying to reach out to contact jinn through whatever method they do. Maybe they are in contact with different jinn, and they're open and they're leaving themselves open all the time. And this is when jinn possession can take place. In a nutshell. Okay. So it happens. It does happen. And like I mentioned before, it's not called an exorcism. It's called ruqya. And it's a person who can recite the Holy Quran in a certain chapters in certain repetitions that will help to drive a jinn out. So this is a call-in show, okay? Islam, peace, and equality. I don't know what the show really is. I've never seen it before. This just came up and I watched it, okay? So there's just these two guys sitting, they're taking calls. Like, go ahead, caller, what's your question for us? That kind of thing, okay?
Any questions? Have you got any situation regarding this?
Let me turn that way up. That is very, very low. You're definitely going to want to hear what it is. Sounds like he's got a British accent. I only watched this that one time. That was enough. Oh, once again, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I seek refuge from the accursed Satan. Just going to boost the audio.
Free to call up, inshallah ta'ala. We've got our first caller, inshallah ta'ala. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
You okay, sister?
What it is I'd like to ask Brother Abu Muhammad, when people go to see these beers, they jump in without doing Salatul Istikhara.
All right, I'm going to have to explain a few of these things. Is the volume okay? Let me know. So she's saying, and the captions, of course, are way off. When people go to see these, I'm going to have to play that again, but she says they go without doing istikhara. Istikhara is a prayer in Islam that helps you to make a decision. So let me listen to this again.
When people go to see these beers, they jump in without doing Salatul Istikhara. I personally have had an experience where I've done Salatul Istikhara to go and see someone in India, and it came back unfavorable. Okay.
I can't affect the quality of the audio. It is what it is, but I can only affect the the volume. So she says something about going to India. She did the Istikhara prayer, which helps you to make a decision, and it came back unfavorable that she shouldn't go.
Told to open up the visa that was sent to me by him, and the tickets for the visa, everything was already prepared. But then when the visa were opened, we'd seen that in the Taweez there was like one man standing with the left hand forward, left foot forward. Allah's
Look at the guy. No, I don't think she went. She's talking about getting the visa. So she says she received it, and there's like some kind of a picture. She's not making a lot of sense. There's some kind of a picture with a man standing with his left hand forward and his left foot forward. And whenever we go into something with God, we start with the right foot and we eat with the right hand, and everything is done on the right side. So something that is that if we receive something and it's like everything's left, it's probably not right.
name on the left leg. Also,
and you can hear the other guy next to him saying Bismillah. Because he knows what's about, like, oh, okay, we're dealing with something here. She received something. Everything is coming in on the left. Okay.
Also, when people, I'm sorry, I can't speak no more.
Bismillah, Bismillah.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. So she says, I'm sorry, I can't speak. She's trying to speak through it.
بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت الذي إذا شئت تجعل الحزن سهلا اللهم سهل اللهم سهل Oh Allah, give her the speech inshallah. Allahumma, give her the power to continue her speech, Ya Allah. Carry on inshallah. Carry on, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Sorry about that. But when I'm doing Salatul Istikhara and the Taweez, I've opened up as well. There were 3 Taweez, one for under my pillow, one to carry with me, and the one that I had to carry with me when it was opened up had a face on it. With, you know, like how a noose is around a person's neck? That was on it. Mm-hmm. It had Firaun's name in it, Abu Jahal's, Haman's, and all this and that. Wow. And this is what I'm curious at, is why do people not do Salatul Istikhara before going to see somebody? I personally done Salatul Istikhara to see Brother Abu Muhammad. It was snowing. Everyone told me not to go to see him. It's snowing. You're going to get stuck and everything. And I found that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opened the doors for my treatment to be started. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. And it's been really good because Alhamdulillah, I can start reading my namaz now. I can start doing good things again. Whereas when it comes back on me, is by my own mistake, I find this time I've made a mistake. See? And because they don't want me to go to court, and I haven't gone to court, this is my mistake.
SubhanAllah.
See? And the jinns themselves have told Brother Abu Muhammad, they are here to prevent me from going to court.
My sister, why they prevent you to go to court?
Because they do not want me to speak against a brother.
So do you mean a magician or somebody send this jinn to block you to speak or to go to court?
Yes, we blocked.
You blocked her, ya Aduullah. You enemy of Allah, you blocked her, huh? But inshallah, Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala block you in this dunya and the akhirah. Remember, ya ayyuhal jinn. Remember, inshallah, that you are going to stand before Allah Yawm al-Qiyamah, and Allah going to ask you why you entered this body. What you are going to say to Allah Ta'ala Yawm al-Qiyamah? يوم لا ينفع مال ولا بنون إلا من أتى الله بقلب سليم. Huh?
I think the caller's gone. All right.
What you are going to say to Allah Ta'ala or the jinn in that body?
No.
What you are going to say to Allah Ta'ala? What you are going to say to Allah? Are you Muslim or a non-Muslim?
No.
Muslim or non-Muslim?
No.
Muslim or non-Muslim?
No.
Who created you? Who created you? Who created you? Who created you and why? Huh? Remember that you are going to stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You are going to die, yeah? And remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Yawm al-Qiyamah, He will ask you why you entered the body of that lady. What you are going to say to him, Ya Allah, forgive me. The magician is the one who told me, go and ruin her life. Go and stop her talking. Yes? But it will be late. Allah will send you to Jahannam khalidina fiha. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, and He said, don't fear them and fear me if you are a believer. وَلَا تَخَافُهُمْ وَخَافُونِ إِن كُنتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give our sister, inshallah, inshallah, give her, inshallah, the strength, and give her iman, and give her power, inshallah, that she will get rid of you. And don't worry, inshallah, you are not strong in the quwwata lillahi jami'a. The Allah most high, most powerful.
Okay. See why I said pray up beforehand? Yeah. Thoughts? Anyone have any thoughts on what they heard? Yeah. At first it does sound like an epileptic seizure, but then you realize, oh, it's more than that. Yep, that's where it ends. Yep. You don't want to entertain a jinn for on and on and on and on and on. This is how, this is how more problems come in. But yeah, he stands up to it. And this is why I really cautioned everyone pretty much in Gore World to, Googling Islam. Muslims talk in, there are so many phrases in Arabic that we say because the religion of Islam is Arabic. So you may not know a lot of what he said. So you may have even misinterpreted some of that. But he was commanding the jinn to tell him who created you, because you need to fear God. And he said, I was going to type it in the chat, but the akhirah and the dunya. And the akhirah is the afterlife. The dunya is this world that we live in now. And you will be questioned. You will be questioned. I don't know what well, let's check the comments. Maybe they say what happened to her. I don't know. But this was 13 years ago. So it was a while ago. Yeah, everyone's just either calling it fake, voice actors. Listen, this is where discernment comes in. This is where discernment comes in. if you got a physical response to that, you know that wasn't a voice actor. You know? But whatever you think is what you think, you know? I can't tell you what to think. Yeah. I did not hear a baby. No, I didn't. But Christian, you asked what inshallah means. Inshallah means God willing. We say that about everything anything about the future. Anything about the future at all. It's God's will, we believe. Yeah, Ashley, yeah. That's the second time I've listened to that. I haven't heard a baby throughout any of that. You didn't feel anything, but your dog did? After she stopped laughing and the voice got really thin, my dog jerked out of his sleep. Yeah. You also heard a child? It might have all been her, because you heard how it distorted her voice. It might have all been the jinn making those sounds. This is why I like to wear earbuds around the house when I'm listening to stuff that I'm not sure what it's going to be. I mean, I do anyway when I'm streaming, but I don't want my dogs exposed to that kind of... I don't like my dogs being exposed to Chantal, even, because she's something going on with her. I don't want my dogs to feel on edge with her voice, you know? Oh, the laugh was beyond creepy. Yeah. Your dog was laying beside you and got up and seemed uncomfortable when it played. Yeah. Cosmo didn't feel anything. The cats were cool with it. Okay. Well, you know, crackhead jinns. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, jinn are, they go where they feel like similar energy. So maybe you guys were cool with it. You heard I mentioned Spravato for depression. It saved your life after you finished your PhD program. That is fantastic. That is awesome. I'm so glad. That's awesome. But I do recommend, you know, I would just protect yourself before you listen to that, because that's a lot. No. Fairy Nymph, were you here when before I started the video? I talked about what a jinn is, how it's created, and all of that. I've talked about it many times on this channel before. It's not created by a person, it's created by God. Chilled, yeah. Something's really wrong with Chantal? Yeah, definitely. And the more she dabbles in things that she doesn't understand, the more she opens herself up. So many of us have felt a dark energy around her. Tomorrow is my day 1 of prednisone pack. You got a pred pack? You don't want nightmares? Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Maeve. Yeah, prednisone is just ugh. But it works. It works. When she started laughing, you involuntarily shoved yourself into the couch cushions like they were going to protect me. Ashley, I would say you have discernment. And, you know, people who didn't feel anything are going to be like, oh, whatever, you know, you're bullshit. That's okay, too. That's okay, too. I'm just giving my opinion. Oh, I talked about it before I played the video, Fairy Nymph. I just gave, like, a brief description of, like, what jinn actually are, because this is a jinn possession. He's asking who made you, to remind him. To remind the jinn. You will have to answer for this. Someone sent you to this woman to prevent her from going to court. A magician sent you to mess with this lady and to prevent her from even being able to speak at times. Who created you? Because you willingly went there, you will have to answer to God for this. Who created you? God. You're going to have to answer for this. Yeah. Freaked your cat out, crazy cat lady? Jumped in your lap? Oh. Yeah, Moz. Yeah. Ugh. Prednisone is a real bitch. But it helps. It helps. If you need it, it helps. It really does. It does. And if it's methylprednisolone, it's not going to be nearly as bad as prednisone. If you get a methylpred. Yeah. It's such an old drug. It's one of those really, really first generation drugs that they didn't even really have to develop it much because it's so freaking effective. But my God, the side effects. It's the last round. Oh, it's methylated. Okay. Okay. Well, that's not nearly as bad. Hopefully, Maeve. Aw. So yeah, it looks like it was just like a call-in show. And the guy looked confused. Like, what, it seemed like she couldn't really get her story out. Like she was kind of, being confusing about it, which is also effective, the gin. Oh yeah, hungry and happy. Oh, I think I've only been on it twice. Hungry as hell and irritable as a mofo. Are there magicians who say they are Muslim or former Muslim? Magicians are would not be considered Muslim if they are practicing magic. But a jinn can be Muslim or not Muslim. Like we were saying, like a jinn can be as on the spectrum all the way as to like being similar to a nun and definitely worshiping God and like a true believer and like yada, yada, yada. Or like a crackhead jinn. Not that a crackhead jinn has to be an atheist, but they can be. But like a totally different energy, a totally different lifestyle, maybe a different set of rules that they follow. It's jinn are exactly on the same spectrum that human beings are. Like they can be really good, really bad, or just average. So, but this one is malicious because it agreed. A magician basically commanded it to go to this woman to shut her up. And the jinn accepted, was like, okay, yeah. Because the jinn is probably going to get some kind of benefit out of that. But the jinn knows that you're not supposed to interact with mankind. Mankind is not supposed to interact with you. And not only are you interacting, you have entered this woman. You have entered this woman and you're preventing her from going to court about something. So that's like really egregious. So he's like reminding him, like, who created you? Yeah. Who created you? Yeah. You're going to have to answer for this. Mm-hmm. Yep. Do you need to go outside, sir? Do you really, though? Or do you just... I think he does. That's why Fletcher couldn't get the crime story straight. Why were they created? I don't think I have the answer to that. We know God created 3 angels, jinn, and mankind. The why? Another Muslim in the chat or who's listening might have the answer to that. I don't have it. And I don't know if there is an answer. You're trying to understand how conjure works in the culture surrounding Muslims? Are there weird old wise ones who are outside of Islam? Conjure. Like a magician that would... You okay? Yep. All right. I'm sorry. Let me just let my dog out real quick. Just one moment. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. We're back. We're back. There's a skunk outside. Okay, let me, and now I can focus. Okay. How conjure works in the culture surrounding Muslims. Well, there's all different cultures around Muslims because Muslims are everywhere in the world pretty much. So cultural is not, because you know what you know what I'm trying to say? Like there's American culture in Islam, there's Malaysian culture, there's Middle Eastern culture, there's all different cultures around Muslims, wherever they are. Bosnia, and they're all different. Are the brujas? I don't know what that is, Christian. I've never heard that word before. Yeah, Ashley, it sounds like she was, the story wasn't really clear, which I think is part of it. Like the jinn is trying to prevent her from speaking and being well understood. And it's like she has to go to court about something, but the jinn is preventing her from speaking and going to court. And a magician had commanded this jinn to go take possession of this woman to prevent her from going to court for something. Witches? Is a bruja? No, there are no witches in Islam. No. That would be against Islam, basically. Witchcraft in general, they're practitioners who conjure jinn. There are people who conjure jinn, but they would not be considered Muslim. Or is it like in some Christian beliefs that wishing harm on someone can send that entity there? I feel like that's kind of two different questions. So is there magic in the Middle East? We could, if you just want to talk about the Middle East, absolutely. There definitely is. Yes. Yes. But anyone who practices magic would not be considered a Muslim. Anyone conjuring jinn to do their bidding that is not okay to do at all. And when you say Christian belief that wishing harm on someone, like sending like the evil eye type of thing, that is a thing, definitely. And that's why we say mashallah, because it says that, I'm recognizing the blessing that God has given you and I'm not envious, to prevent against the evil eye. You're Ashley. No, that's okay. That's okay. There's no, there's no pressure here at all. We're just chatting. So in Catholic culture, there are saints like Jesus Malverde that are not sanctioned by Catholic standards, but most consider it witchcraft. Okay. That is how I understand voodoo, actually. Because a lot of voodoo practitioners call themselves Catholic. Earlier, you were talking about Ouija boards. I almost died when my mother-in-law gave one to my daughter. It went right in the trash, Maeve. Yeah, exactly. Hey, Cypher, what do we say to prevent against Chantal? To prevent what? Do you know that people think that she's going to get arrested in Canada at the airport? I don't know. We have gone outside and there was a skunk in the yard, which they've never encountered before. And it was really something. They treated it like a friend. Like, oh, hey. And my guy, who pretty much has lost most of his vision, was trying to touch noses with the skunk. The skunk was completely freaked out. And they're just like, oh, what's going on? Hey, you're a weird looking cat. I'm like, oh my God, go inside. Like a cockroach in a nuclear reactor. Nothing happens. I know. I didn't really understand like the whole thing around it though. I didn't have time to look into it. Yeah, Cypher, they're trying to say it's some kind of Canadian law about sanctions in Lebanon and Syria, like a financial fraud type of, or I don't know. I don't know exactly. I don't think she will either. Yeah. You think she's involved in international money laundering? How, though? Yeah, Sir Austin. Oh, yeah, Ashley. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree. Don't bring that into your house. If Chantal has an encounter with law enforcement in Canada, it will be a speeding ticket on the way to get a Nashi. A speeding ticket in the scooter. How exactly would they even prove that? Just because she said it on video, she says lots of dumb things. That's true. Yeah, I don't get the money laundering part of it at all. Like, I don't know. Like to clean dirty money, you've got to put it through like another means of getting money. You know what I mean? Like, let's say you sell drugs. Okay, let's go back to the crackhead scenario. Or no, the dealer for the crackhead. Okay, let's say you're a crack dealer. Okay. Let's just say you're a crack dealer. And it's a cash business, okay? You don't send PayPal invoices. They have to give you cash. But when let's say you're really making a lot of money, like you're not the guy on the street, you're like 2 levels above that, and like you're able to buy a car with cash, you're able to buy a house with cash, right? And at some point, like the IRS may get word that like, oh, they have all of these assets, but they don't have a job. So where are they getting the money from? And that's where you create like a shell of a company, just like a doing business as, or even an LLC. And let's say like you say, oh, my business is car detailing. Oh, well, all this money came from my car detailing business. And then hopefully you have fake like receipts and things. And I only take cash for my car detailing business, which would be legal according to, everybody basically. But what you're actually doing is being a crack dealer. So that's what money laundering is. An example of money laundering. I don't see how Chantal's doing that. Legal until you don't pay your taxes. Yeah, that's where they get you. In the States. See, all of my reference points are from the States, though. And I have tried reading different Canadian laws. And I feel like it made me realize that I think probably 20, 25 years ago or so, I think the U.S. really started dumbing down things for us. Like, truly. The language, if you read, like, laws in the U.S., they're very simple to understand. It's like in plain language for the most part. You don't need a lawyer to interpret it. But with Canada laws, I read stuff and I get lost halfway through a sentence. I'm like, what are they even saying here? It's almost like it's intentionally vague so that they can just apply certain laws to certain people in certain circumstances when they feel the need to. But for others, they don't need to because it's not that clear. So any kind of laws that they're saying apply to Chantal with all of this, I don't see how she is liable. I really don't. Yeah, Donna Adelson literally washed the money, literally, and it came back damp. Yeah. She's giving someone that isn't a part of her financial account to go to a third-party country? That's not laundering, though. That's money coming out of her bank account. She'd have to be getting dirty money, illegal money in some way, and laundering it or washing it to make it clean money is to make it look like it came through legitimate means. So the whole money laundering thing, I don't get where people are coming from with that at all. There you go, Angela. It starts with placing the dirty money through legitimate means. Right. The complex transactions, shell companies, investments, crypto, until it can ultimately end up in the legitimate economy. Thank you. Thank you. That's much more clear. Thank you. Not saying it's not weird and sketchy, but it's definitely not money laundering. Exactly. 100% agree. Yeah. She's doing fraud with PayPal. But, I mean, is she? Because, is she though? I don't believe she is, because I think PayPal would have shut her down. So I have PayPal. I've had PayPal for 30 years or so. How old am I? Yeah, about 30 years. I was like, wait a minute, is that right? Yeah, I'm older than I feel sometimes. And I've gone through all of their terms and conditions. You can accept money for literally anything, including fundraising for anything. You really can. I have found nothing that anyone could ding her on for PayPal. She did have like that, something set up, like a different kind of thing set up through PayPal. She had to close that down, but she can still accept donations for anything at all. For any cipher, she can get money for anything. People can send her money for anything. Except sex work. That's right, Poison Petty 4. Except for sex work, yes. Even though it's coming from even though a payment may be coming from a very legitimate company like OnlyFans. Like, they're legal. They have legit bank accounts, but they don't want what? They don't want a payment? They don't want your money going through PayPal? Like, screw you, PayPal, and your judgments. But you're allowing Chantal to collect money for a child that's never going to see the money. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Sir. The skunk is out there still, I think. Yeah, legal. Yeah. They got some weird moral. Hey, please. Enough, okay? Please. Oh my God, he's so loud. Oh my God. The only thing she did wrong with PayPal was telling people to send it as friends and family, but I don't even think that's a problem, because they're not paying her for a service. Like, if you're paying for a service, you can't send it friends and family. Like, PayPal originated through eBay. That's how it all started, was through eBay. So you can't pay for a product on eBay through friends and family on PayPal, because PayPal is going to get their cut of it. That's the only issue where that comes in. Yeah, the AdSense, sir, you need to stop. I am having an important conversation about some morbidly obese piece of crap person who's, oh, honey, oh my God, just lay down. Just lay down. Lay down. Lay down. Lay down. Almost fell off the bed. Just a sec. Oh my God. Leave him alone. Leave him alone. He's such a bully, and he's literally the runt of the litter. He's like, you're laying on my dog bed. I want that dog bed. There's like 6 others in the house. Can you pick another one? No, I want his dog bed. Of course you do. All right. What else? Mexican cartels funnel money through nail places and landscaping businesses. There you go. It's perfect. That's a good example too. Yep. Yeah, the AdSense through Syria, YouTube is an American country, and I believe America lifted all the sanctions, financial sanctions, through Syria. Canada doesn't get involved with that part. I know people really want to find stuff to like send her to prison for life on, and like, I don't care what happens to her, but I'm trying to let's, people are saying she's going to get arrested at the airport. So, I mean, I haven't found anything that indicates that, but hey, I don't know. I don't understand Canadian law the way some people do. It's written very strangely. Considering the amount she's been sent. She's been avoiding being taxed doing it that way, though it seems maybe a little sketchy. Actually, 2 different people have told me this. One is an attorney and one is a person who filed for bankruptcy in Canada, that when you are under insolvency, bankruptcy in Canada, that whatever, I don't even know the words to use for Canada, but basically that court files your taxes for you. So there's no way to get out of filing taxes once you're under a bankruptcy, like an active bankruptcy. So that she's not avoiding taxes because they're doing it for her. He wants to give his opinion on her. Yeah. Oh yeah. He always, hey, he's free to, but he gets a little loud sometimes. They do. RCMP is still going to be on our ass. For what though? For what? I think they'll question her, but that's as far as that's going to go. I think so too. More of my tax dollars doing more for Chantal than me. Yeah, but she's still getting paid though, right, Fairy Nymph? She's still getting paid, so I don't think it really applies to her in some way. No matter how much we wanted to, I think she's still getting paid. Chantal makes me get loud sometimes too. Yeah, that's true. Yep. Yep, she can rile us all up at times. Yep. Her travel history may get her extra searches and questions, but I don't see money laundering. It's definitely not money laundering. Yeah. Me neither, Angela. I don't see it. And, it's kind of like it's a creator that I've never watched before, and I don't know. I'm not going to say anything more on that. I don't know who it is, okay? But I haven't, people have been sending me that video, and the person doesn't post any sources. They're all screenshots from somewhere, but from where? Which is why I always like to post sources when I say something, of like, hey, go look it up yourself. Go research it yourself. Like, no one should be relying on my videos or my interpretation of something to be fact, because it may not be. I can be wrong. That's why I always like to check sources. Like, let me look at it. Let me see. Do I think the same thing as you, or am I looking at it differently? But the sources aren't available. They didn't post them. You think she's using a VPN? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, she has said many times in her live streams, in her vlogs, that she is in Syria. So even if she had a VPN, if that's all it took, then I don't know. Yeah, we're all speculating as usual. Yeah. Interesting to see what happens. Yeah. And usually it's nothing, unfortunately. Oh, Angela, I really hope not. That is my... See, Angela, thank you. You're right on. Yeah, you're in my wavelength tonight. I feel like that's the thing. It could be Chat GPT. It could be, oh, here's the AI result, and I just cropped out the AI result. Yeah, I mean, just post the source. It's not, if you found it yourself to screenshot it, then you know the source. Give us a link. And let's be for real, even if it was money laundering, the amount would be so relatively small, and she's an operation of one. The odds they'd even look at her as null. And let's think about how much she's actually getting from YouTube for a monthly payment. Like $5,000, $6,000. Like, she's not transferring $100,000 into a country that has current terroristic organizations. I don't think there is a voice at all, Poison Petty 4. I think they just post the screenshots with the words. Yeah, I don't think the person actually says anything. But I haven't watched their other videos either. We've always been good at speculating, yeah, definitely. After seeing her cross the US-Canada border multiple times without a passport, without any consequence or even scolding, she won't be arrested or stopped? Does anyone feel that she will be arrested at the airport? Yeah, I agree, Poison Petty 4. Aside from that channel or anybody else, yeah, and you haven't even watched it. But sometimes I think it would be fun to make a channel that just makes up ridiculous fake news stories like The Onion. And you know what? If it was about Gore World, oh my God, you'd have to shut down the comments though. Like making up like fan fiction about the Gorals, you'd have to turn the comments off. Because a lot of people here in this community are un-effing hinged. And you start talking about, oh, well, Amberlynn got a job today. She's going to be... And they'd be like, F you! She doesn't work! Are you stupid? Like, you can even make it all positive, and people would hate you more, actually, if you made it positive. But you'd get a ton of views. Like, everything would be clickbait, and all the stories would be fan fiction. Oh, my God. Can you imagine? Hey, Poison Petty 4, if you got time, you might want to start something like that, because I think that's $1 million idea. It was your idea. Oh, my God. Instead of the fair use disclaimer, it would be a parody disclaimer. There you go. Yeah, that's right, Nada's Kitchen. Her nickname is Cockroach for a reason. Yes. True. Chantal doing laundry of any kind is a stretch. That's true. There are pretty much paws. Yeah, pretty much. Oh, we're just speculating. No, you're literally making up shit. You're not even coming from like a place of like, oh, this is possible. You're literally making up shit and then speculating off the stuff you just made up. Like, wow. You don't know the lore, of course. Yeah. For example, you knew a guy who bought a Rolex in South Korea and even thought he wore it through the flight process. He still got caught up at LAX. Oh, even though he wore it through the flight process, he got caught up at LAX. I don't know. What do you mean, like he didn't declare it at customs? Interested in what clothing they'd put her in if she got in prison? Like J-Bay, they didn't have scrubs for her at the hospital. I mean, maybe, I don't know. What is she, a 5X? I don't know. Could that be why she flies through untouched? We don't have a prison jumpsuit that's going to fit you, so. Chantal had a transplant in Doha. Now she's actually expecting a baby. Yeah. I just want to be there if she's ever questioned, do you know who I am? Don't talk to me! Yeah, I think it is Poison Petty 4. I'd put out like 5 videos and see if it takes off. And like try to like, I don't know. You could have a good name, like a catchy name that people can remember. How would you use your voice? Would you use AI voice is just usually so awful. Like, how would you convey all of it? Or you could do it, you could just put those screenshots on the screen. You could just quote. This is definitely not shade to that creator, because I don't know if it's legit or not. I really don't. But if you just took screenshots from a website, like from I don't know, like from court systems, like the Supreme Court in the US, about like quoting certain laws about things and applying them to Amberlynn Reed. Like where her arrest is imminent. It's going to happen at any time. Oh my God. She had weight loss surgery, a hair transplant, and a womb transplant. She really needs one of these. I watch this channel sometimes. I think just the shorts, but it's this girl. She has this business that I don't know what they call it. They probably call them like hair pieces now, but they used to be called toupees. And this person, like the guys go in, like she does such a good job. Like they're not even really embarrassed when they get there because they're like, fix me. And she shaves the top of their head. So they have the hair usually all around, like on top of their ears and in the back. And she creates a custom hairpiece and glues it down and like blends all the hair. It's amazing. Like she could get something like that. It's called a topper. Okay. Yeah. Can you imagine if she was ever incarcerated and you got her as a cellmate? Oh, no, she wouldn't survive. It would have to be someone who's worse than her as far as like hygiene and manners and all. It would have to be someone that would gross out Chantal for that to work. That would be a good reality show, though. Make it look like posts on a news site, Grow World headlines. The Oklahoma Gazette. Amberlynn Reed. Oh my God. Work from home scandal. She was a 5X, 3Xs ago, Debbie. Yeah, aren't they, Ashley? I bet they're pretty expensive, but you know what? It seems like, I mean, they look legit, so I don't know what they cost, but I'm sure it's worth it. Clipchamp has some pretty good AI voices for free. Okay. There you go. Or a beautiful thin woman. Yeah. A TV show. The typing test was rigged. Yeah. Yeah, Amberlynn Reed. Yeah, she scammed a work from home company from her typing skills test, her typing speed and accuracy. She had ChatGPT, I don't know. She had an AI thing type it out for her, and she filmed herself typing to make it look like it was really her for the test, but it was AI. Yeah. Chantal's too much of a baby. She can never handle jail. Oh, she'd piss herself walking in. I mean, I would probably too. I'm not trying to say I'm some big badass. I'm definitely not. But yeah, she's pretty fragile. That's one thing. I'm not fragile, but Chantal is fragile, you could say. Yeah, for sure. She can't handle much of anything. She's 100% getting questioned by RCMP. Definitely. I think so too. Yeah, she will be questioned. I never got questioned. But I don't know. I'm not sketch either, you know? And I made sure when I came back from Egypt the final time with my dogs, I made sure. Oh, I'm losing frames. Uh-oh. I think I'm buffering. Why am I buffering? You guys are still with me, right? There we go. I might have been buffering just now. Oh, I had a bunch of dropped frames. Okay. Let me see. Close a few things. But I made sure to save. I saved a U.S. baseball team's T-shirt to wear on the flight home. So when I was coming back through the airport, I was wearing a baseball shirt, U.S. Nada's Kitchen, thank you so much for gifting 5 Are You Serious memberships. Thank you. Thank you, Nada's Kitchen. We got Marianne, Heya Midge, Madonna Knowles, Colleen with a K, and Callie Lauren. Thank you so much. And if you happen to be here lurking right now, you just got a membership from Nada's Kitchen, please be sure to give her a big shout out in the chat. Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. It would be the CRA questioning her? Yeah. Thank you, Nada's Kitchen. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I think my wish list is empty at the moment. I put some dog food on there, but it was unavailable, so I think it's empty. But thanks. Yeah, topper would look great. The thing is with Chantal, though, it's like when you get, I've never had them, but people who get like those tape-in extensions, you gotta really take care of them for them to look good. And I feel like, I don't know if Chantal would take care of her topper. It would probably be half flopping off after a week. Because they would probably give very specific instructions on shampooing or not, and she wouldn't follow any of it. Wouldn't it be great if one people questioning her was a member of Gore World and started asking her random Gore World questions? Someone who works for like the equivalent of Homeland Security in Canada, and she's coming through, and like you see her name on the list, like coming off the plane, like, oh damn, yeah, I'm gonna pull this one aside. I suspect something. Take her into like a completely isolated area and just laugh at her. And just be like, what the hell were you thinking? What were you thinking? You could ask her, but no, you wouldn't tell her that yet. You could just ask her all quiet. You could ask her, who is Salah Al-Rafai? Who is that? What is your association with him? And then she would tell the truth. Because you could you'd sit her down and you'd stand over her and be like, who is Salah Al-Rafai? And she'll be like, it's my coworker. I had a contract with him. It just ended. You'd be like, oh, damn. And you'd be like, so he's not your husband? And she'd be like, oh my God, you haters are psycho. You got a job at the airport. That'd be so funny. Oh my, I am making up fan fiction as we're sitting here. Oh my God. And she would be like petrified. Her face would be all pale and her hands would be shaking. Oh my God. But then Chantal's going to be like, the border security was a fan. Yeah. It was a beezer, guys. It was a beezer. Oh my God. Time to make my parody. Hey, Poison Betty 4 and I will make a channel. Yep. And then she'd walk out and say she told him off. Right. Oh, definitely. Just like she told off her landlord, allegedly. I told him to go shove it. Yeah, sure you did, Chantal. Sure you did. You're only tough online. Come on. Ask a ton of questions, and when she leaves the room, say, bye, cutie, so she would know. No, bye, Miriam. Masalama, ya Miriam. She's the type that would just start spewing nonsense to put blame for anything and everything on Salah. It was him. It was him. It was them. It was them. The fanfic that follows the crazy hater that pursued a career in border security just to catch her at the border. You guys remember the story of how I met my ex-husband, Dirt Merchant, and the story of the air fryer and our son Pilot, and we had several kids? It could be like that. Like just narration, just narrating the story. And it could be like it could be, I don't know where the person would be situated, but they could just be telling their story. Better say I have to call Frenchies now. Where's my phone? Yeah. Oh my God. You ask Google for suggestions, and one is the Big Back Buzz. That's not bad. I can't even bees during interrogation. Oh my God. Do you guys have a hookah here? I need to smoke shisha if you're going to hold me here for a long time. I need my inhalers. You guys have like a sofa that I can seal on? I can't sit in a chair for very long. Oh my God. That would seriously be funny. Just like the, my story with the air fryer and my ex-husband. Could be just like that. With like the images and stuff and just narrating. Someone who works at the Burger King in the Montreal airport and watched the whole encounter. Yeah. So I had just started working at BK after school at the airport. They only pay whatever. And my manager, blah, 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 blah. Well, I was really getting up to my ears in French fries and then I saw this woman walking, like not really walking over. She was being pushed in a very large cart. And she was stuttering and drooling and she was saying Nashi. And I think we have a sandwich called Nashville chicken sandwich. Anyway, waddling over, yep. Gore World bedtime stories. Oh my God. Herpling, yep. Herple. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could make a bunch of characters, actually. Yeah, the Burger King worker at the airport. A flight attendant. That would be good. Like Chantal's behavior during the flight. Yeah, you could do a lot. Everyone along the way, because we only get her side of the story, and we know most of it's bullshit. So it could be like the people who had to deal with her telling their side, except they're fictional. But her story's fiction too, so it doesn't even matter. The person who had to sit behind her ask loud. Oh my God. And then you could use AI voice occasionally. Like if you had to do like a man's voice. Bedtime with Gore World. Get into bed with the girls. Let's chat. She better have 2 seats. She better have 2 seats going back. I'm telling you. They all slowly pan direct to camera and sigh. It could take place at a support group, everyone telling their version of their encounters. Yeah, the guy in the motor cart. I had to pick her up at gate whatever. I drove her down 3 gates. She couldn't walk. She said she couldn't walk. Not a bad idea. Definitely not her bed. She got like a 7-piece bed set for $50. That's not gonna be... Probably paper-thin sheets, scratchy. Pan into a cleaner on the plane coming out of the bathroom in a hazmat suit. Oh my God. She already said her 1 seat. I'm pretty sure Emirates has pre-assigned seating. It's not like Southwest. She should have 2 seats. Because that's extremely selfish. I mean, but that's her, so she doesn't care. Let's see. Yeah, it's pre-assigned. You choose it when you book it. Can't wait for her to try to enter the USA for a fast food run. Oh, she's going to get a huge reality check. Just the first time she goes to a grocery store or starts to order food, that's going to be a huge reality check with the amount that groceries have gone up in prices. She's going to be shocked. Okay, Capricorn NJ, thank you so much. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed tonight. I know, the wagon. Like, what? She's going to have to tow that wagon behind the scooter or something. I don't get it either. I really don't get it. Polyester sheets. Yeah, probably. But she better get like a waterproof mattress protector. She should. And then all we'll hear about is how cheap food is in Syria. Oh my God, you guys. I could have gotten a 3-piece crispy meal for 55 cents. And in Canada, I'm paying $9. Can you believe that? Okay. You tired of the Chantal talk, buddy? Yep, he is. Oh, when she sees the prices, yeah. That's all she's going to talk about. The prices in the Middle East are so cheap. Gas is so cheap in Kuwait. Okay, but you don't live there, so deal with it. Shut up and deal with it. If you think she'll be shocked based on how much U.S. prices have gone up, you have no idea how much she'll be shocked in Canada. Really? Oh, God. This guy. The scooter will really be charged enough for these imaginary excursions. Well, I heard her say, I hope she reconsidered. She's like, when I get there, I'll tell you what city I'm living in. Why would you do that? It's like she wants to be doxxed. She wants to be doxxed so she can be a victim. Like, why would you tell people what city you're in? You don't need to do that. Hopefully he's settling in now. He just went to bed. Isn't that ridiculous, Kathy? Went to BK for the first time in years. Got a combo for my sister and I. Total was over $23. Seriously, they can sit and spin. That's ridiculous. For crap food. God. Yeah, that'll be the excuse. That's right, Ashley. I gotta charge the scooter. It's not charged. Yeah. My charger stopped working. She's probably hoping people will send her food after she gets doxxed. Oh, God. Oh, good night, Debbie. Thanks, Debbie. Hope you had a good time. Reciprocal tariffs. Oh, my God. $8 a gallon for gas? What? Oh, my God. That's crazy. It's about $3 where I am. He's got a loud mouth. She's going to live in Cornwall and hopes Pete's will move in. Probably. That's what I'm saying, Angela. Like, people are going to figure it out even if she doesn't say anything at all. Because she always slips. She doesn't even have to tell us. Like, they'll figure it out eventually. Yeah. Imagine if she gets evicted because she spends all her money on food. And probably at the end of each month, she's like going to be online begging for rent money. You just hope Pete doesn't move in for his mental health. I know. Especially after last night. Like, wow. Peach should get a backbone, but he won't. Why is everything so expensive in Canada now? I don't know. Yeah. Her money goes a lot farther in the Middle East than it will in Canada. Hey, Ophelia. Yep, that's all we're going to hear about, how everything is so cheap in the Middle East and how awesome it is there, and okay. One wheelchair and it's going to get out of hand fast if she truly is done with Syria. Yeah, well, definitely. Hey, Anna Gags. Peach should tell her you're not my wife. Oh, she's such a horrible person. The way she tried to manipulate him last night, you have to stop. Enough. That's enough. Come on. You gotta let Mom talk about the horrible obese lady in Syria a couple times a week, buddy. Okay, literally the rest of the day is yours. Just give me a couple of hours, a couple times a week. That's all I'm asking. Ugh. Your neighbors just slammed their car door right outside my bedroom window, and I think I touched the ceiling for a second. Okay. Everybody, let me take this creepy picture off the screen. Let's get back into, like, a better vibe. Yeah. We don't need to creep ourselves out. You don't expect her content to be much different than it was. I know! Right, Saban Nation? Oh, yeah, you guys just be patient. Be patient. For what? You never do anything. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. You don't care enough. You literally don't care. It's like, how many times did she tell us she was going to take us to, what is it? The mall. The big mall. The Avenues. How many times did she tell us that? Oh, yeah, I'll have to take you guys. And people are like, can we go to the Avenues? I don't really like malls. I think it's too much walking. They don't have benches. Sometimes you gotta put some effort in. A little bit of effort. The souk, anything. Yeah. Yep. Oh my God. You want her to get on prep and become a hoe again? Listen. Wasn't ready. I didn't have it queued up. Wait, hold on. It's coming. So delayed.
You call my mom a hoe? Your mom couldn't afford to be a hoe.
Exactly. Okay, Becky W., have a good night's sleep. You popped in her. I've been seeing you all over the place. Pause. It's so funny. It's so funny because I was trailing around watching the live streams last night. I was seeing you everywhere. It was hilarious. I can't believe she hasn't caught on to you yet. You popped in her chat last night real quick and then popped out because I get to it. She thinks really, she really thinks you're her friend. Oh, God. First weeks of content will be her high and people waiting for nuggets of info. After that, nonsense again. Pretty much, yeah. It's too hot. I have diarrhea. My knee hurts. Well, now it's the hip. Like, oh my God. Stop Sir, you got to stop. Okay? Enough. It's late. It's almost 11 o'clock. Chill out. God. Crazy. He's feeling himself. He's really, and I'm glad he's feeling himself. But I mean, he's getting rude. Starting to get rude. At least mix it up with a variety of barks. Oh, Anna Gag says, does anyone else feel like Salah is getting his ass into Canada? I don't. Do you? Your 12-year-old beagle has been barking all the time? Oh, no. I took him to a vet a couple days ago. He suspects dementia. Did you know that dogs, when they have dementia, they do that sundowning thing. Don't confuse it with sundown towns. It's a totally different thing, but sundowning. They start to get anxious at night and stuff. Oh. In its kitchen, maybe there's something going on. Like, sometimes I check. What is it called? Like, I don't even know. I really don't know the word for it. It's like the Earth's magnetic frequency or something. I know it sounds really out there, but sometimes when things are way off, all the animals go a little nuts. All of them. You do think he's going to Canada? Okay. Do you want to tell us some more about that? Vortexes? I'm about ready to go in a vortex, I'm telling you. I need to switch timelines. Yes, thank you, Ashley. Yes, thank you. Electromagnetic field. Yeah, what do they call it? I can't remember. It's a scale. The Schumann? Is it Schumann? No, I've got dementia. Seriously, it's what it feels like sometimes. Schumann resonance. Yeah, it is. Schumann resonance. Global electromagnetic phenomenon where extremely low frequency waves are trapped and amplified in the cavity between the Earth's surface and the ionosphere. And it's a real thing. It's not some like metaphysical, like spiritual. It's actually a real thing. And it does affect humans. May influence wait, let me find a legit source. There used to be a website. There's a page for it on NASA, National Institutes of Health, the effect on our health, the frequencies. And sometimes when like the numbers are all crazy, all the animals in the world go a little crazy too. So maybe it's just that. Maybe it's not dementia, God willing. You think he realized he's not getting in and is settling into Syrian life? Yeah. I think when he went and, he's like, oh, we own property here that I can fix up and yeah. He's not going to own anything in Canada. Like, What you doing? It's kind of late for him to be all funky. The Bermuda Triangle, yeah. You think he's going to try, but Prime Minister Carney said last night the immigration has been reduced by 70%. Okay. Yeah, he's been turned down twice. Have you seen that place where ley lines converge and a broom will stand up by itself? No, I haven't. Barometric pressure, yeah. Weather change, oh. It's shifting like Nicole was trying to warn us about. Yeah, she said there's like magic fog or something in the air. Yeah, something like that. Ophelia, it's your birthday? Oh, my goodness. Happy birthday, Ophelia.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Woohoo, Ophelia. Happy birthday, Ophelia. I hope it's a wonderful one. That's awesome. Awesome. Oh my God, he's not going to stop. All right, I guess that's going to be it then, because I have to go have a talk with kind, gentle sir, who's not being so gentle right now. You got to stop. We're going to bed, okay? Can't stay up and do this. Oh my God. It's got to be something outside. You're having birthday dinner? That's why you're... Oh, happy birthday, Ophelia. That's awesome. Woohoo! Okay, everybody. Oh, my God. He's relentless. Okay. Everyone, I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. If you were adversely affected by the jinn possession video, just, surround yourself with some white light. Ask for protection from whatever you believe in, and so that you get a peaceful night's sleep. And I hope to see you. I will see you. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow on patrol, that jerk. We're going to patrol with that jerk. Yes, we are. Yeah. Okay, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow night. Okay, bye-bye.